My name is Duke Gastiger. With life and business partner Monica, we welcome you to ReFarm Cafe at Windswept. We are just 10 minutes from State College, just a minute away from the airport. So we are accessible to everybody in our community. And it is one of the only restaurants, fine dining, on a working farm in the US. And when I mean working, I mean working. So the barns are there for you to see. The greenhouse produces produce that is unbelievably delicious for the cafe. We have sheep, we have pigs, many chickens, and our 11 and a half ducks, which one comes and goes depending on what day of the week it is. Our project is net zero energy, is net zero water, and is also pretty close to being net zero waste. So we're really working to build a laboratory for our industry and a community resource for education. Come on with me into the cafe and we'll see Monica for a tour.
Welcome to the cafe. ReFarm Cafe is a Living Building Challenge project, which is part of the International Living Futures Institute. Beyond net zero energy and net zero water, we also looked at how we used resources. In building this building, all of the materials were responsibly sourced and lots of them were repurposed. For instance, our wine storage cabinet, the door itself was repurposed from an old church, and inside wine bottles are stored in apple crates that we got from Harner Farm. The floor I'm standing on right now is a special piece. When they were tearing down the high school, we bought the auditorium floor and with lots of volunteers went in, took the floor up, and with hundreds of hours of volunteer time, we were able to refinish this floor to its beautiful natural state. Other pieces of the Living Building Challenge are things like social justice. We pay all of our employees a living wage and provide meals to local agencies. Another Living Building Challenge piece is biophilia, that love of life, bringing the outside in, the love of nature, the light of the world. A multitude of things that we try to do to be part of this community and make sure that everybody has an equal chance and an equal opportunity to enjoy the beauty of the land, the beauty of the cafe, the bounty of the land.
And thanks, Monica. Let's talk about some of the intentions of the architects, this design scheme of entrance. And then all of a sudden, you get a little compaction of space and it kind of draws you, it forces you to take a look at this gallery view of this beautiful vista, the surrounding mountains, the farmland, maybe even the farmers working in the fields or the sheep grazing in the background. This is what brings that beauty out inside that you can enjoy throughout your whole dining experience. And that beauty just explodes as you walk into the cafe itself. So it was designed around the old turn of the century barns. All of the beams are hand hewn and hand fit. All of it harvested within 50 miles of State College. As you can see, that kitchen suite is the focal point where it draws you into the experience of cooking. The suite itself is all induction. So we're about 85% more efficient than normal fuels. It's designed to have two separate compartmentalized cooking stations so that when we do cooking classes, groups can have complete access and get really involved in that hands-on process. Everything we do is about repurposing and reusing. So Monica and I scoured thrift shops all around Pennsylvania and wherever we went to pick up china that was perfectly good and would really add a special touch. The chairs are from Spatz Cafe. I had Spatz for 35 years. We're able to reuse a lot of the glassware and china and silverware. One of the cool ways of thanking our community is allowing them to bring some of their china in and linens. It's always great to see when we have a diner enjoying a meal with their family and they recognize the plate that they may be donated. There is an unbelievable openness and honesty of the food that we prepare every time you come into the cafe. And these composers, they take all that deliciousness from the farm and they put it into a symphony for you to enjoy. Let's talk about what we're here for, and that's to enjoy some really great food. Our composers have prepared for our WPSU family a great menu built around the French classics. So we have French onion soup, vegetarian we might add, and then our small plate is a beetroot tartare, delicious dish, and then a choice of 2 entrees, a pork roulade, stuffed pork loin, or a stuffed portobello mushroom, which is absolutely delicious. And then the entire meal is finished off with a great baba au rum, with creme patisserie, cream pastry filling. So now we begin that process of putting all that great food together. And we're going to go up to the greenhouse to see Luke and Christina, who are resident farmers. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. My wife, Monica, is from Illinois. Neither of us have spent any time on a farm when we were younger. So we rely on their expertise to follow through on what all this great land has to offer. So let's go up and start the harvest. Christina, how's the harvest going?
Hey Duke, we're just grabbing some radishes for today's meal, and Luke and I are in here harvesting, and yeah, we're getting stuff prepped.
You have a few minutes to talk about the magic that you work on this farm between you and Luke.
Yeah, so we're a regenerative farm at ReFarm. That's part of the Re symbol, and regeneration is all about restoring the land. So recovering nutrients and health to the soil is our main mission here. And we do that through our livestock rotations, our cover crops, our amending of the soil, and that really produces the best vegetables.
Great flavor profiles.
Yeah, it's all part of the cycle, and we're kind of trying to recover what we once had and get back to that healthy land that everybody really wants.
And it's very important that our community understands the organic practices and the regenerative approach, the whole systems approach, not only from the cafe, but also how you and Luke grow this absolutely tremendous food.
Yeah, this structure enables us to feed folks through the winter. So we use all different sorts of sustainable heat sources to warm the space and keep plants alive and growing through the winter. And that produces the abundance that you can see before you.
We can't possibly use all this food on the farm, and you have other outlets for all this great harvest. Tell us about that.
Sure, yeah, we sell locally in the community, and items go to the cafe for enjoyment and to introduce people to things they might not have tried. Some of the varieties that we grow are pretty unique, so it's a great synergy to be able to showcase items in the cafe and then have folks come in and we become their supplier for this delicious food.
And I can say from the chef standpoint, from the composers, we now understand what food terroir is. So they talk about that as far as wine goes, but we grow the same seed on different parts of the farm, and because of the soil makeup for that particular plot, the flavor profile is totally different. So we get to learn and test and are excited about that fresh crop every time it comes through the door. Well, let's get that harvest up to the farm where we can start to cook. Here. Oh, wow, thank you. We can do wonders with this up in the cafe. Brenda, you ready to go?
All right, thanks, Duke. Beautiful. I'm Brenda Palmer. I'm a composer here at ReFarm Cafe, and I'll be showing you a few things. I have we're going to do some duxelle and a tenderloin. I'll show you how to wrap it, sear it, and make a beautiful roulade out of pork tenderloin. So duxelle, which is what we're going to put in the pork tenderloin, is onion or shallot. It's mushroom predominantly and garlic. Windswept Farm has 4 different types of garlic that they grow here. It's just really, really marvelous to have different varieties to work with. The mushrooms that I'm going to use in the duxelle is we have some king oyster, which is also called royal trumpets. They're really nice if you've never tried them. A couple other kinds of oyster mushrooms. We have the Italian oyster. There is some golden oyster, some shiitakes that are already sliced here, and this is just a regular agaricus button mushroom that you find in the grocery store. Actually, these days you can find all of these in the grocery store. All right, so I'm just going to give this red onion a little dice here. All right, you can have onion, then some nice garlic. This is a very French method. Duxelle you can use for so many things. Stuffing mushroom, making with eggs, fillings for almost anything. Strudels, puff pastry, anything you like. So it's a classic. And if you find you have a lot of mushrooms, it's a great way to keep them in the fridge or the freezer. If you do any wild mushroom hunting or whatever, they take up a lot of space and they don't last long enough. You can always make duxelle and portion them up and freeze them, and that way you have it ready anytime you want. So I'm actually not going to use all the onion that I'm showing you. I want the mushroom flavor to come out. So I'm going to go straight to the mushrooms. So you have all these different shapes. Just go with whatever cut will give you just a small dice is what you're looking for. All right, I want to get these gold ones in there because they're so pretty. A little bit of the Italian oysters. Then I'm going to saute these with a mixture of a blended oil and butter. Mushrooms love butter, but the butter burns pretty easily, so I'm going to use a little of our blended olive canola oil. Proportionately, I have probably 3 parts of mushroom, 2 parts of onion, and 1 of garlic. Feel free to bump up the garlic if you want. That is, to me, the favorite part. It's a little bit of that blended oil. So while I'm waiting for that to heat up, this is our tenderloin. We've had several kinds of pigs here. Getting wild pastured pork really does make a huge difference. Taste-wise, you just can't beat it. You can't have French food without butter. So we're not really going for a whole lot of caramelization on the pan because we're not going to be deglazing it. We just want that to cool down so we can put in our pork tenderloin. So this is what I have. That's just getting nice and translucent. And I'm just going to take that off the heat and let it sit. Next we have the pork tenderloin. So I'm going to put some gloves on because not only is it keeping me safe from the meats, but it's keeping the meat safe from me. It's especially things that you don't cook right away. Things that you don't cook right away or things that are ready to eat, it's a good idea to wear gloves, even pre-COVID. So to make a nice roulade, and this is true of loins too, which are like this, only larger, you want to not just cut it in half, but you want to sort of start offset, and then you're gonna like unroll it as you cut. So I'm gonna roll it some more. It's actually gonna be kind of wider than it would have been if you just cut it in half. You just get to get more filling in it that way. I'm gonna put a little saran wrap on top and give it just a quick little pound. Okay, so I'm gonna use the flat side of a meat mallet, not the tenderizing side, because all I wanna do is stretch it just a little bit. I don't wanna tear any lumps in it. It's already tender, it's a tenderloin. So I'm just gonna kind of spread it out, even out the thicknesses and the thinness. It's a great method to do for chicken, you know, when you get a chicken breast, you have the thick side and the thin side. You can always make it the same thickness, just pounding it out a little bit. All right, so now it's pretty much the same thickness. I'm gonna put some duxelle in here. I cooked this a little bit longer, so it's a little bit more mushroom colored. I did want to season it first, so I'm just gonna kind of do that on the part that's showing. Just a little salt and pepper. I did have salt and pepper in the duxelle too, but it's good to season every step of the way. All right, so now I'm just rolling this. All right, it's going to be completely enclosed except for these ends. Now there's a couple different ways that you can tie this, because it will, as it cooks, it'll just kind of open out and you won't be able to control it once it starts firming up from cooking. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use butcher's twine and tie this in place. Go along and make like little half hitches. Like this, and I'm gonna come down and do it again. Like that. Get back in there. So you have the inside is cooked, but it's nice and moist still. It's right at the end here. So I'm gonna put it in and not touch it too much, and then just give it a gentle roll to sear it on all sides. I'm gonna start the pan out with some of the blended oil. It's canola with a little bit of olive oil in there. You don't wanna use straight up olive oil because that will burn in the pan, definitely. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little oil in here. That blended oil. When it gets close to done, I'm going to finish it off with some butter, because that adds to the flavor to it. It'll make it nice and glossy. It'll be one sexy piece of meat. Okay, in we go. A little bit of a sizzle there. That's good. All right. And like I said, I'm going to try not to fuss with it too much. You always want to look, just let it go. It's doing what it needs to do. All right, get some nice brownage going on there. Oven, like I said, 425 degrees. All right. While we're waiting for the meat to get done, I have a couple of vegetables I want to add on there. You can't have dinner without vegetables. So from Windswept Farm here. We have these beautiful red-purple carrot with orange carrot. We had yellow ones earlier too. A couple of their different varieties of potatoes, which have already been roasted. So that was salt, pepper, olive oil blend on there, and roasted. But what I want to do now, since that was earlier, is I want to cut them the way I want to serve them, and then just saute them up with some butter. So I'm just going to do a nice little bias cut here. Like that. And these are cooked. They're not cooked mushy. They're cooked sort of al dente if it was a pasta. So it won't take long. I just want them to be really flavorful now. So also, while I'm waiting for that, I had done a pork tenderloin earlier today. Because I knew this would take a little while, so, you know, like the magic of television, it's voila, done. So when I get these vegetables in, I'm going to slice this for you. Okay. So here we have our pork, our duxelle inside. So once again, the meat was just salt and pepper on it. And then the duxelle is mostly mushroom, then onion or shallot. So we are ready to plate with some Dijonnaise sauce. Maybe 3 slices, just offset so you can see the sauce. And we have our vegetables, potatoes, orange carrots, red carrots. Life is good. So we have Windswept Farm pork tenderloin stuffed with duxelle, roasted potato and carrot with some Dijonnaise sauce.
Hi, my name is Shane Orndorff. I am the head composer here at ReFarm Cafe. Today I'm going to be working on 2 other courses that are part of our menu for the WPSU dinner. The first dish that we're going to be building today, it's going to be our portobello mushroom cap. So what we did was we took portobello mushrooms and we let them marinate for about 8 hours today in some balsamic vinegar. They've been soaking that up, and they're going to get, once we stuff them, they're going to sit in a little bit of balsamic just to add that extra flavor while they're cooking. We also have some spinach that's going to go in there. It's going to cook down a lot while it's in there, as well as some fresh croutons that we made up today. We tossed them in some herbs and threw them back in the oven after we made them just to harden them up a little bit, but they're all going to go in this mixture. Brenda made the duxelle earlier today, and that's also going in here just to give it a little bit more freshness, and it's going to also build some cohesion off of what the other main entree is. So we're going to take those, mix them up with some oil, and once we mix that all up, we're going to take it and it's going to go and get stuffed in each one of our caps that we have. You want to put as much in there as possible, just so that way it's going to cook down and it's going to fill it up and look nice and presentable. Now with all this moisture that's in this cap, this bread's going to soak it up nicely because of it being dried, but it's still going to retain a lot of that flavor from the herbs and everything that's already in it. So we're going to take those, top them off here with what's left of our mixture that we have, and we're going to throw them in the oven for a little bit. While that's working, we're going to build our other plate here. And this is our crostini that we have. So what we did was we made some yeast bread earlier today. We sliced it down. We put some olive oil on it and a little bit of some herbs. And what's going to happen is we have our tartare mixture, which is essentially some ketchup, Worcestershire. There's also capers in it, as well as some onions and garlic. And that's going to get mixed with our roasted beets that we had. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the beets, put them in our dish here. We take some of this Worcestershire mixture. This is imparting different flavors to it, making it a little bit more on the savory side. And then it's also going to make it a little bit more cohesive so that way it sticks together on the toast. What we're going to do then is we're going to take it on the crostini and we're just going to put it on there. It's going to be a nice generous amount. To plate them up a little bit. Next we have our horseradish cream that we have. It's freshly grated horseradish and just some freshly made cream. We use Meyer Dairy Heavy Cream, and then we take it, let it sour a little bit so it makes some sour cream. And then you just get a nice couple dollops of that on the plate. And that gives it a little bit more of a spicy sour flavor. And then the next is our carrot turnip mustard. It's a little bit more potent compared to the horseradish, but it definitely has a nice flavor, nice color to it. And these are using the carrots that we have that came off the farm, as well as our turnips. Okay, so now that our mushrooms have come out of the oven, they're nice and cooked. Everything has cooked down a little bit, but it still has some nice height to it. We're going to go set that right in the center of the plate and kind of build around that. And we have some mushrooms and carrots, same as what we had on our other dish for the pork loin. And they're also going to go on here as well. And that's just going to help build the dish, but also give it some color. It's hard in the winter to find things that really are nice and colorful. Our potatoes that we grow here, we've got a couple different varieties. Our blues and our strawberry paws, they all have a lot of different colors to them, and that helps break up the plate nicely. We'll just build everything around this. The potatoes we roasted off earlier today, so as well as the carrots, and they're just getting a little bit more finishing touch. And we also have an oyster mushroom we seared off here as well. And then after that we have a little bit of our tomato sauce. It's a little bit of a hot tomato sauce, so the tomatoes come out really nice with this dish. I'll finish it off with just a little bit of salt on there. And it's our main vegetarian entree that we have that will offset the pork dish.
And there you have it. The pork roulade, the stuffed champignon, portobello mushroom, and the beetroot tartare. And you'll start out your dinner with a French onion soup and finish it with a delightful baba rum with pastry cream. Some of the most important times in our lives is time spent with family and friends around great food. So from Brenda, from Shane, from Duke, and from all us here at ReFarm Cafe, Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for WPSU and being a great neighbor. And we hope to see you here at the farm. Bon appetit.